One of the resources that we have through the Texas Annual Conference is a website called MissionInsite. MissionInsite allows us to do demographic study of our community in lots of different ways. For example, we can look at the city of Fairfield, we can look at our zip code, we can look at our county, we can pick a point, say the church, and look at a certain mile radius around the church. What I've done for the statistics and demographic information I'm going to be sharing with you in this video is just looking at our zip code at 78540 and some of its features. I know not everybody in our church is within the zip code, but most are. So this will give you a flavor of what our community looks like. So let me throw up my screen here. Here we go. Let's start at the beginning. Fairfield Demographics. Our first screen is phase of life trends. What this shows is the different age groups that we have. The different colors on the bar is the blue is 2010, the orange is 2021. That's now current. So orange is current, yellow is projections for 2026, and green is projections for 2031. Right now, I'd just like us to look at the orange bars. You notice here the greatest percentage, the greatest numbers in our community are 35 to 54, that age group, followed by 65 and over, followed by 5 to 17, then 25 to 34, then 18 to 24, and then way down at the bottom is 0 to 4. So we're weighted toward the right end here, toward the older people. That's what we see in our zip code. Let's consider marital status. We look at marital status. The data tells us that 53% of the population in our zip code is married. 25% is never married. 12% are divorced. 8% are widowed. 2% are separated. So the majority here are married. Our next looks at educational attainment compared to the state. The blue bars here, that's our area. That's how our zip code stacks up. The red, that's our state, the state of Texas. So you see here that the main area in which we're an outlier and surpassing the state is in the percentage of people that are just high school graduates. So looking at our zip code, the greatest percentage of people is people that just have a high school diploma or a GED. And we surpass the state average is 25%. We're over 35% on that. The state far surpasses us when it comes to having a graduate, professional degree, even a bachelor's degree. Now, we also are over the state level in terms of associate's degree by a little bit. And we're fairly close by in terms of some college, some high school, and less than 9th grade. We might also consider families in poverty. Again, this is a comparison between our zip code, our area, and the state. The orange here, I don't know, well, is that orange or is that red? Well, reddish orange. Reddish orange is the state. So in the state of Texas, 10.75% of families are below the poverty level. In the state, 89.25 are above the poverty level. In our zip code, we have 13.01% of families that are under the poverty level. That tells us something. We have a poor population here to work with. That might open up some opportunities and ideas for ministry. Next, we can look at family structures. We see here in 3 different times. We look at 2010, 2021, and 2026 going into the future. I don't see a lot of change from these. In fact, 2021 and 2026 are exactly the same. So let's just look at 2021. In 2021, the family structure is 75% married couple. 19% is a female head of household, no husband present. 6% is a male household head with no wife present. So we have primarily married couples. That's the primary family structure that we see here. Also, racial and ethnic trends. Again, we're looking back at 2010. now at 2021, and in the future 5 years, 2026. Don't see a lot of change here from 2021 to 2026. The main thing I see is that the green line is going down. The green line is the Hispanic or Latino population. In 2010, it was 14.17%. 2021, it's 12.22, and in 2026, it's projected to be at 11.85. The group that's growing with any significance is a small, tiny group: Pacific Island, American Indian, and other non-Hispanic. So that's where we're seeing tiny bit of growth. The white population is pretty level, around almost 70%. So you see that the white population is the dominant ethnic population here in our zip code area. Here we get into mosaic segments. These are ways of segmenting the different cultural aspects, the different cultural characters that we have in our community. Now you notice up here at the top, there are 3 that we have much more of than anything else. There is J35. Now these codes are used by Experian, I think, is the data organization that developed these segments. We have J35, O51, and Q64. I have a little description right here of their characteristics. I could give it to you in more detail, but I'll just read some of the basics here. J35 is rural autumn years rural escape. Tagline is sophisticated, established couples and singles living comfortable lives in rural towns. Key features are country living, modest educations, risk-averse, outdoor activities, traditional media, and satellite TV. The second group, not too far behind them, is O51, the singles and starters digitally savvy. Their key features, they're described as young singles who live digital-driven, smaller city lifestyles. Their key features are ambitious, video gamers, single adults, eager to spend, music lovers, and digitally savvy. Now I'm just going to stop right there, and I don't see a lot of those poking up in our church. That seems to be maybe a mission field for us, something we're thinking about. The third group is Q64, Golden Year Guardians, established in society. The tagline for them is stable, sophisticated seniors living in older homes and leading sedentary lifestyles. Their key features are described as avid TV watchers, rural lifestyle seniors, home-centered activities, conservative values, cautious money managers. Now, again, there's a lot more we could say about those, and we could also go into more detail on the other categories that are here: the N48, Pastoral Pride, E20, Thriving Boomers, and so on. But these are much smaller groups in our population. Look at employment here in our zip code. The biggest employer is educational services, school district, not surprisingly. Then we have agricultural and mining and construction at 16%, wholesale retail at 16%, other professional services at 11%, entertainment services at 9%, and the others are lower. And there's some diversity in our workforce. Now we get into more religious things that we might say. These are beliefs about God in the order in which people agree with them. If you look right there at the top, the first statement that people were offered to agree or disagree with is God is love and invites the world into a loving relationship. You've probably heard preachers say that. You probably heard me say that. Heard that in Bible studies. You can even find that in the Bible. It looks like there's wide acceptance, wide agreement of that in our area. The second highest is I have a personal relationship with one living God who is Lord and Savior. Well, that's second, but notice how much lower it is than those who believe in God. So there's a gap between believing in God and responding to God. Something we should take into account as we try to reach our community. Then again, half of that is people that say God is the full realization of human potential. That sounds sort of like Hinduism, not Christianity. I believe in nature and our spirits in nature. God is a higher state of consciousness that people may achieve. In other words, I can become God just by having my consciousness raised. Everyone and everything is God. I'm unsure, undecided about whether a God exists. That's what we call agnosticism. I don't believe a God exists. The material universe is all that is. That's atheism. I believe God created the world but takes no further part in it. We call that deism. I believe in more than one God. That's polytheism. But all these down here at the bottom are very small numbers. The vast majority we see here, I believe in a God, but a significant number haven't responded to God. We have beliefs about Jesus. Again, the top one is a very orthodox, normal Christian claim. Jesus was both divine and human. That is a dominant belief in our area. Right below that, Jesus actually rose from the dead as the Bible teaches. Again, that's the second highest rated belief in our community. But again, it's significantly lower than those who believe Jesus is divine and human. So what exactly happened to Jesus? Is he just dead? And we have Jesus was the expected Jewish Messiah. In other words, Jesus is the fulfillment of Old Testament hopes and prophecy. Jesus rules now as Lord of heaven and earth, decreasing there. Jesus is the only way for human salvation from sin. Hey, notice how far down the line that is from the top. Jesus was both divine and human. Jesus' belief does not require participation in the church. In other words, yeah, I can believe all this stuff, but I don't have to believe it with anybody. It's nothing to do with church. Well, we can see there's a disconnect between believing in God, believing in Jesus, and connection to a church. And we'll see that even more in just a minute on the next to last slide here. This looks at activity in a religious congregation or community. And you notice the latest data here is 2017. So we have 2017 data and a trajectory over 5 years from 2012 to 2017. We see here that in 2012, the projected percentage involved in a church or church community is 44.3%. So in 2012, of all the people in our zip code, 44% were involved in a church. It doesn't say member, it says involved. 2017, that had gone down 5.5% to only 38.7% involved. Now, again, we can look at the opposite of that, the percentage not involved. This is our mission field. So our mission field is not going to get people from other churches. It's getting people that are uninvolved, people that maybe they don't believe in God, maybe they believe in God and are just disconnected and isolated. We see projected percentage not involved in 2012 was over half, 55.7%. But now, 2017, 4 years ago, it had moved up 5.5 percentage points to 61.2%. Now, we don't have 2021 data here, but my guess is that things have continued the same way, the same direction. In other words, there's a decline in the percentage involved in church. And I think in the past year and a half of the pandemic, that has accelerated, if anything. So finally, some questions to think about. Number one, how well does our current ministry strategy fit with and address these demographic features? In other words, considering these features of our community, how well are we doing? Are we structured? Are we operating in a way to reach people, connect with people, draw them in? Secondly, what opportunities do you see for us in this data? Well, one I mentioned was that digitally savvy group. We're not really connecting with them. We can maybe figure out some ways to connect with that group. And third, what groups in our community do you see that we could connect with better? So we have that digitally savvy group. I think we have a number of isolated and lonely older people in our community that need friends, that are looking for things to do with their life. So I encourage you to look at this data, contemplate it. If you want to see the full MissionInsite reports, let me know, and I can email you the PDFs. If you don't do PDFs, I can print it out for you. But think about it, pray about it, talk in your Sunday school class and small group about it, and let's see what we can come up with.